Today, on This American Dice, a family's dark business is exposed, both to outsiders who want to see it eradicated, and to insiders that are invited to dive deeper into the rabbit hole. And what happens when a hunter finds her prey? Find out today on This American Dice.
Okay, so Tayo, I think you have met with, I think we have a meeting in Bayushi Korochika's house, and you're there, and you're in his garden again with all these birds that are all over the place. There's that big peacock that's kind of strutting about and making the weird, like, noise pretty regularly. Like a bunch of crazy songbirds that he's got from all over the place. And I feel that we join this meeting, like, as it is ending, essentially. Mm-hmm. Like you guys, you guys have already been talking. And the big thing that he wants to know from you is simple. Basically, are you totally on board?
And with what?
So,
I mean, probably yes.
So he's been talking to you and kind of kind of clued you in with some of the stuff about like that you already know that he's involved in the illegal opium trade for sure, and he just wants to know, are you totally on board?
Yes.
If he could do a read a person move, he would do that. Mm-hmm. All right, so could you go ahead and make an elegant roll for me? 10. All right. So I think he kind of seems pleased about that, and
but he more or less wants me to just keep quiet and move stuff through the Emerald Cup, I assume.
Well, the Emerald Cup essentially is more over for you as just like was kind of the initial offering to get the wheels greased to kind of be talking to you and that kind of stuff. And if there's stuff going on there, you're welcome to kind of like ask about it, and we'll see if there's something that they could tell you for sure. Mm-hmm. And he is more interested in making sure that you help to protect that. Basically, opium is not looked into any further.
Oh, I see.
Than need be. Like he is a legitimate merchant who raises and processes legitimate legal opium, and that as far as opium is concerned, that's where things kind of like end with his involvement in that, and he wants to make sure that you're like fully on board with this.
Oh, yeah,
with this whole game plan.
True.
All right,
I'm sure that's the only thing he's.
So we see that meeting, which occurred probably several days ago. Mm-hmm. All right, if not maybe like a week ago.
Does he have any kind of weaknesses?
Ooh, him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you have to make a roll for that?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, go for it. Make that roll, baby. Oh, this could go so weirdly.
10.
10.
Oh, 12. Sorry. So, got some things then. So, I learn the weakness, and then I can choose to, since it's 10 plus, choose 2 of the following: blackmail them for 1 favor, blackmail them for 1 wealth, gain a blackmail against them, or reveal the secret causing them to lose 1 face.
Okay, well, I know what you're going to do in a second when you hear this. You know from the dossier that he has a family. You've met. I'm sure you and your wife had dinner with his wife, Bayushi Saisho.
Mm-hmm. Didn't his daughter or something killed herself? Or
he has a son that you've probably met in passing. He's pretty young. Mm-hmm. I think he's supposed to be probably somewhere between 16 and like 18 years old in this, and the picture of him makes him look real dumb. He has like a mask that looks somewhere a cross between a shredder helmet and a bunny rabbit mask. Okay. It looks real stupid. And Bayushi Otato is his name. And he's always kind of seems like a angsty teen. And you know that he had a daughter, but his daughter died. Mm-hmm. To pull that up real quickly.
I think, didn't they implicate that it was like tragic or something?
So she died fairly young. Bayushi Omoto. She was a beautiful... in Memoirs of an Opium Eater, she says, Jocho told me the truth about Bayushi Omoto today. She was a beautiful girl even as a young child. It could be seen what a great beauty she would be someday. She was so beautiful that she didn't like to wear her mask and defied scorpion tradition by going about with her face naked. One of the servants of the Bayushi family became enamored with her when she was only 13, so he poisoned the household with opium and carried the girl off while everyone else slept. When her parents awoke to find her gone, they immediately set out to find her. Because her kidnapper was only a lowly commoner, he was quickly discovered in his hiding place, but by then the damage had been done. He tried to force himself upon her as soon as she awoke, but she fought him off. Then he swore he'd starve her until she was too weak to resist. Terrified by that threat, Emoto took her fingernails and clawed her own beautiful face until it was a mass of blood and injury. After that, no man would want her. This saved her from his vile embraces, but when she was rescued, she was deeply saddened by her loss of beauty. She felt that Bayushi, like the founder of the family, was punishing her for not wearing her mask, and she eventually killed herself. So that is what you already knew. Mm-hmm. All right?
What was her name again? Do you remember?
Omoto. So Omoto. So yeah, so there's this like very kind of tragic, sad, like violent story that involves this guy's daughter and how she died. But as you are around this place, you've come here periodically, and you kind of have some sharp senses about you. Mm-hmm. Maybe not in the mechanical sense of this game, but you have some sharp senses about you. And you notice he has all these birds, and all these birds make these weird squawking noises all the time. But you're able to, at some point, figure it out. Maybe on, like, the third time that you come here, and often he'll kind of, like, move the conversation out of this area into another place. You can definitely hear that... that's the sound of not a bird, but of a woman, and you're convinced his daughter's not dead. So you're like, for sure, no, she's around. It's not that she sounds like a bird, but it's just like, you can hear maybe like almost like girlish giggling, and you're like, wait a minute, what? And there's stuff you've got a hunch that you are positive of that she is still around. She is not dead.
We see a city on a lush river surrounded by miles of fields of red poppies. Immediately around the city are green limestone walls. A group of traveling monks heads north toward the city on a main road. The monks are met by peasants along the way who offer alms in exchange for blessings and prayers. The camera flies towards Ryoko Owari Toshi, over its green walls and into the noble quarter. We see beautiful houses, a grand and imposing palace, and a foreign mansion that stands out among the traditional architecture. We pass over the north wall into the temple quarter where the city's population pays their respects to the fortunes, their ancestors, and countless other spirits. The temple of Amaterasu, the sun goddess, and the temple of Daikoku, the fortune of wealth, almost shine in the bright day. Moving west, we see the busy streets of the merchant quarter, crowded with vendors selling goods from all over the Emerald Empire, and even some from beyond. We cross over the Bay of Drowned Honor, passing fishing boats, cargo barges, and the pleasure crafts of the wealthy to arrive in the Fisherman's Quarter. As the name suggests, the docks are swarming with men and women unloading their catches, but they are joined by burly porters. The quarter is much dirtier, the buildings closer together and shabbier. We see two groups of rough men in an altercation. We head south, swiftly passing over the flat gray leatherworkers' quarter, the home of the Eta, the Untouchables. The only building that stands out is the city's crematorium, which belches forth thick, black smoke. When we arrive back at the river, we slowly float southeast to the licensed quarter. Calmly lit in the twilight glow of hanging lanterns, we see samurai patronizing fine sake and geisha houses. We see a man in a basket hat approach an open door as he is beckoned in by a beautiful geisha. And once inside, he removes his hat to reveal he was the monk from the beginning. Closing the door, the geisha looks at the camera and mouths, "Secrets." Ryoko Owari, City of Lies. Executive Producer, Jessica HBO.
I feel like I have to follow up to get this thing. Do you have another visitor here?
Oh,
I'll handle this.
And I think he's always very, very polite. He's always like very, very polite to you, and he's always smiling a bunch. And if you bring that up, I think part of the reason why you did that is he gets very weird. His demeanor seemingly changes. and he gets kind of a lot darker, and basically brings up like, he says something almost like, and I don't think you have to make another roll for this, but he says something like says, these birds can often sound like there's someone else here, like maybe someone who's in pain and screaming and crying, and I feel like it's meant somewhat as a threat, but that's not what you heard, and he's trying to use this threat to throw you off of that. So I think that's wrapped up in maybe like how that further confirms that stuff from earlier.
So it's like obvious that he's making a threat to like make me.
Yeah, he's like trying to make you feel like, this guy isn't all smiles. He's also a scary dude. But you're like, I know I didn't hear that. And maybe if you weren't kind of like as sharp a character as you are, like that would have just been like, fuck, this dude's just threatening me.
It's like, I deal with this blackmail on him, so I might say,
I think you've already got it for sure if you want that. Just like that's a big thing. Like everyone knows in this city, his daughter is dead. She killed herself, and like the story was that like she killed herself. Like that's the story that everybody knows. That basically like to preserve her innocence, and like she killed herself. That's the deal.
Okay, so how about this? I think I'm going to keep a blackmail on him, and then I guess blackmail him for one favor. So, but mostly trying to get a favor out of this by dropping the subject and saying like, these birds can make so many different noises. I could have sworn I heard not pain, but just joyous laughter. Maybe I must be thinking of something else. It's fine. I should be going anyway.
All right.
So trying to get a favor and a blackmail on him.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah, collecting so much favor on random people.
Well, this guy's not a random person.
Well, yeah, many people, I should say.
All right. But I think the more important meeting, actually, because that was just like towards the end of one of your meetings that you had with him.
Yeah.
The more important meeting occurs several days or maybe even a week later.
Okay.
All right. And it occurs actually at the Shosuro Palace, where you are sitting down with Bayushi Korochika, Shosuro Hyobu, and her son, Jocho, and a character who's in the dossier but we haven't met yet, Soshi Serioku.
Who's the new one?
Soshi Serioku.
Oh, she the Shugenja person?
Yeah, the Soshi family are one of the two Shugenja families of the Scorpion. She has also a weird-looking mask. Kind of looks like a helmet.
No, this lady?
Nope, that's Yogo Sako.
Oh.
The one with the aardvark-looking mask.
Oh, she's like the super angry person, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
And so, I think Hyobu kind of takes the lead in the meeting. She says, well...
Who was the governor, you said?
Yeah. So the governor says, well, cousins, now that we've all gathered ourselves here, I of course want to thank Korochika-san for bringing you into the fold in this way. He's told us that you're a man who is trustworthy and a man who knows how to put loyalty first, along with your commitment to order. To the order of this city.
Not.
She'll say, "Is there?" And I think she'll say, "I think we can speak. We can all speak frankly. We want to. The three of us want to make sure that the order of this city isn't disturbed."
By the three of them, she means Soshi and Korochika and her.
And these are the three families that have the licenses to harvest and manufacture legal opium.
And what did she just say?
She basically says, like, we want to make sure that the order of this city isn't disturbed in any way.
Gotcha. Well, I see here only heads of family that have the Emperor's permission to do many things that other families can't. I don't see how. I hope that the order would remain intact.
And I think Soshi Ryoko speaks up, and she's like, she says, some of your fellow magistrates have been prying into things that they shouldn't. There's a few too many questions that seem like they're going to be asked. If it was just you, it would be one thing, but we need to make sure that they're not looking under any rocks that they shouldn't.
I know some of them had an interest in it, but I think I put those to rest. We hoping to focus on more important things, and to be honest, I don't think visiting samurai that what they do in their own places or at these. Yeah, I put that to rest. I think I'll say but it's not important. I think I was saying like that.
And Hyobu will kind of chime back in, and she'll say, the city is built on trade. And when opium was introduced to this city, it was another thing to trade. We were given the legal ability to grow, harvest, and produce opium. For those people who want to abuse opium, they're not hurting anyone aside from themselves, and even then, not really doing that. It's a substance that keeps people calm. It's a substance that's made this city very wealthy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If foreign samurai come here and have problems with it, it seems that's just a symptom of their weak wills.
And Korchika says, exactly. So,
I'm sure my colleagues will think the same way.
All right. Well, if you could make sure that they're of the same mind, that would be very, very appreciated. And, I mean...
I know some of my colleagues are very fond of it.
And I think Hyobu says yes. Aji-san...
You saying this?
Hyobu, the governor. So she'll say, made this clear early on. And from what I understand, he's regularly been visiting an establishment on Teardrop Island that often has opium there.
Which one's that?
And I think Jocho speaks up and says, it's the House of Foreign Stories. Hyobu says, if he wants opium, that is certainly his. He would certainly be able to get it. But if anything were to go wrong, a magistrate falling ill, perhaps because of opium, may not be perceived by outsiders as something good. Now, if he were interested enough in it to also want to make sure that it was protected, that would certainly be useful as well. If two of you were here, but I don't know if that could be I don't know if that transition could be skillfully made. Has Ishi-san, has there been any more word from Ishi-san about removing the troops that he has in the merchant quarter?
Can I get a sense of? Or wait, first I'll say I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not. I wouldn't have said it in mixed company, but I'm still confused about the why that's important to me, and then kind of study her.
Sure, yeah. Sounds like you're reading it.
Yeah. 9.
9. So,
only this dealt with a vice.
Yeah, and she'll say this city.
Oh, that one.
Like this city has a lot of moving parts, and introducing an armed force into it that is essentially not under the control of someone who understands our ways is an X factor that is not good. That's an unpredictable. That's a variable that we don't yet know. If they were under your command, that would be different. They're not.
Well, I think
Korochika kind of chimes in again and says, like, I can just send more people over there to. I can send more people over there to just deal with them the way we've always dealt with crab. I mean, it won't cost very much. So,
how could I get your character to let them stay? Oh, or maybe a better one is, how could I get your character to trust Ishi with them? I don't know if that's better or worse.
It's a tougher one, probably. So this is Governor Hyobu, who you're asking this.
Yeah, I think so.
I think if she would be more comfortable with it if they were under your command as opposed to his. If she had more, but also if she had some kind of leverage on him, she might be better with it. She might be more okay with it.
Buttons. Well, I think we all know crab do cherish their men, maybe more than other. Well, I don't think that Ishi would neglect an order, request from you. I do think that it might cause undue stress between you two if that's what actually happens. I think that of all my colleagues, I might trust him the most, and especially with this, looking at Jocho, this business with Fate coming up and these bandits. I think it's only 6-7 people. It's right? How many troops do you have?
6.
Yeah, it's only a handful of troops. And if I'm one of the younger people here, possibly them, I guess I kind of don't remember. But I haven't seen a lot of warfare, but I know that his insight will be very important for us, and his men were trained by him, distinctly picked. I think it's I can keep an eye on them personally and make sure that they're not going to cause any trouble, or I'll take personal responsibility if they cause any trouble. Ooh, that's bad. But sure, I'll say that out loud.
And Hyobu says something like, "What if they were stationed? What if they were placed outside the city? What if they were stationed somewhere outside the city?" So she says somewhere where he could where they could be called into service if some external threat were necessary, but where any damage that they could cause within the city would be significantly limited.
That might be an adequate compromise. I can bring that up to him.
I think Korochika says, "Where outside the city?" And he says that to her. And she says, "Perhaps somewhere nearer to Mountain Goblin's Rest Road, on the..."
Way up in the northeast on the map.
So,
right.
I think she's saying to put them in the southeast section.
Is the top of that map north?
Mm-hmm. Sure. We'll say that. Yeah, so it would be like down in this... Yeah, he put them, somewhere down in this zone of stuff. Around here. There's a lot of farmland and such out there for sure. But somewhere here. So they wouldn't be far away. But they'd be outside of the city.
And I guess the thought is...
Yeah, and Korochika was not... But Korochika was very much going, where are they going to be? So he was concerned about that.
Yeah, I think I know why. So the concern is just that they'll be too rowdy within the city? Or they're just an unknown element?
She has said they're an unknown element. So...
Well, this could be at least a good temporary solution. Permanent. I'll bring it up to him.
Certainly.
I know, especially if we can deal with that fade situation, or at least get that chop back. It'll be an easier conversation.
And I think Soshi Serioku basically says, the more you can let them know, your colleagues know that that opium isn't any of their business, the better. And Hyobu chimes in on that one and says, Yogo Osako has investigations relating to opium under control. Threats like Fade are far more worth your time, and we can assist you with those for certain. Do you have any other questions? I feel like this is kind of wrapping up this scene.
Yeah, I just had that one question for me to person. I don't think I have any more questions. I feel it's way too risky. This move is really tricky. As failing is really bad, I assume, in front of the most important. So I'm not going to look for anyone's weakness this time.
Okay. All right. So, you, I think, on your way out, Jocho, kind of like walks you out. Mm-hmm. And he gives you some papers. And the papers are a deed to a house, basically. Mm-hmm. Like another house in the merchant quarter. And he'll basically say, like, this was easier than bringing things to the magistrate's residence, given that there are 4 of you now. And he'll say, why, it's our token of appreciation.
So he's giving me a...
Mm-hmm. But it sounds like you might be reading them a little bit. Sure.
Never gonna get experience this way. Another 10.
Oh, not bad. So I'll say it's a token of our appreciation for being so diligent and dutiful.
What does your character wish I do? How to figure out what this means?
Yeah, he just wants you to take this and go along with what kind of agreements you guys just made. Mm-hmm. So you can tell that the house is a gift. It might not even be like a deed. It might just be like almost like a lease or something like that. Mm-hmm. But basically saying like, oh, this is yours. And then you realize, oh, there's something in the house that is a gift.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And rather than bring this gift or these gifts to the magistrate residence where other people will see it, this will be much easier because this is just a private residence. And it's maybe in a different section of the magistrates or in the noble quarter. So if the magistrate's residence is in the new section, this is a house in the old section.
Okay.
So just the other neighborhood of the noble quarter.
Gotcha. Sure.
So they're not far away from one another, but.
And how long is the lease for?
It's just kind of an indeterminate thing. It's probably set up for. I don't know how this country would work of this kind of stuff.
I guess what I'm trying to ask is, is it like for a week? So I get whatever's in that house that he's hiding, or is it like you can live there now?
I think I think he'll tell you like make yourself at home.
Okay.
This, yeah.
Because my wife did one.
It's true.
Man, I want to use these questions. How can I get your character to... Mm-hmm. I don't think there's anything I need from him directly. Because I'm getting all I want from him, really, with the helping with the Fade situation.
All right.
Or how can I get your character to make that his top priority?
Fade?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's something I can do.
You get him to do that. If you can, especially if you can show that they don't have anything to worry, like the opium situation doesn't have anything to worry about. It'll definitely be like a significant top. It is already a very high priority for him, but he'll probably drop other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just make him feel safe in that. What's he really feeling? I guess the last one.
Ooh, what's he really feeling? I'm going to try to make this character more interesting because I feel we haven't seen too much of him or his mother and stuff. And so I'm going to say what he's really feeling is he's trying to wonder if he finds you attractive or not. So, like, as you're talking to him, he's kind of, like, eyeing you up and down and, like, looking at you and trying to decide if he's attracted to you or not.
Tricky.
And so, like that's his thing, where he's, like, in, like, a very crass way, like, when I fuck this guy?
I fuck this guy.
Interesting.
So that's kind of what's going through the old feeling. Like, he's trying to parse that out.
Tayo hasn't been looked at that way in like 2 years.
What was the guy in Milan?
Hmm?
What was that guy in Milan?
Milan?
No, the one that ended up with her.
Oh,
Right, the guy who trained her. Anyway,
Eddie Murphy.
All right.
got it. All right, interesting.
He was it, right?
Then I think that's probably all I have for him. Then
Okay.
I want to see what's in this house, though.
All right, Ishi. You've gotten a dinner party invitation from Tayo. No, not from Tayo. From someone else. Finally, is having a dinner party. I know.
What?
Oh.
Here's my style.
And it's actually with the first person who you kind of met, Ide Baronato.
Yeah. Yeah, quite boy.
Mm-hmm.
Does it say anything else?
It's just kind of, I think they're having more of just a general, like, party or get together. Kind of
should be appropriate.
probably. So, all right. And but he, actually, I think,
I don't get invited to party.
so possibly this is possibly a party that's maybe like a birthday party for somebody, and it's a birthday party for his son. That'll do it.
Perfect.
So there's other people there as well, and you guys may have gotten invitations to this as well if you guys want to pop into this stuff. And there's kind of the general party that's going on at the Ide residence. There are, with the exception of Shosuro Kimi, who is the governor's daughter, there aren't a lot of other Scorpion there.
I happen to have purchased a lot of potential birthday presents recently.
Mm-hmm.
True. There's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, and
Is this non-guy poetry?
yes, there aren't a ton of the Scorpion there. Jojo might be there. I'm not 100% on that, but the I think at some point, like, Otato kind of, like, there's the general party going on, and then you kind of, like, have like like the two of you chat in his study kind of a thing, rather than like you're at the party in general. So while these guys may also be present, you're having a conversation with this guy kind of privately.
Sure, yeah.
And so he'll pour you some he'll like pour you a drink, and it's full of all kinds of stuff from other places. Like the study is less Rokugan like than the other parts of the house. Like, some parts of the house seem there are certain parts that seem very kind of foreign in the way that they're decorated. The outside of the house is extremely foreign. Other parts that seem, where most of the party is going on, it's like a little bit held back. It's not so exotic. The study, I think, seems a lot more so. Like, the style is not at all the kind of Rokugan style of any kind of meeting room that you would be in, or even like a private chamber. There are a lot more kind of chairs and desks and that kind of stuff that, just items that you wouldn't associate with like kind of traditional Japanese decoration or architecture. Mm-hmm. And he's there, and he pours you a drink of something, and he says, this is a liquor that's made out of, like, this is a beverage that's made out of like a grain from somewhere else. Like it's grown in, it can be grown in our homelands, but it's not grown widely through the rest of Rokugan. And so some kind of just like grain, not grain alcohol is what I keep describing this as, but it's like something made definitely not from rice, but also not from any kind of fruit. So it's not any kind of brandy or like sake variation.
I understand.
I'll say you've been here for I think you guys have been here for more than half a year at this point.
We're so bad at being detectives. All right, yeah, 6 months.
Yeah. So you've been here for several seasons. How has
Like 2.
Yeah, two.
Kind of.
The minimum several can be perhaps.
How was it? When did you start it?
You guys came in like the spring, because pretty soon afterwards, remember, you had to collect those taxes, and so now we've said that it's autumn.
So it's getting to winter.
Yeah, it's probably winter is approaching.
Winter's not coming?
Winter is slowly arriving, sir. If there's any way I can assist you, let me know. Essentially, I know that the city can be difficult, and
Oh yes, it's quite a difficult thing. I feel I'm being.
he like after he says that, he apologizes, and he says, I don't mean to imply that you're performing, that you're not doing your duties. I just
No, I understand. It seems many of the people that I would have considered allies on first coming here doesn't seem to be true anymore. Seems many of my allies have turned into not enemies, but certainly not allies. Well, the main thing we have dealt with, that we're dealing with, are the opioid crisis, and then also these bandits that are plaguing the countryside.
says significant issues, certainly. He kind of grinds his teeth a little bit for a second, takes a drink, and well, it's good. I'm glad to see good men. I'm glad to see good men looking into these issues. They're problems that have sat around for too long. Those bandits have been a problem for two other magistrates have come and gone while those bandits were a problem, and opium has been a curse on this city for far longer than that.
Yes, the bandits have been such a problem that the Imperial Seal was stolen from us, and in fact we have to have a new one shipped, and we're hoping to expect that as soon as possible. As you can see, how much such a thing can affect the city when it is affecting even the duties of the magistrates so much.
I understand that. So I had heard that there was trouble on your way back from Kayuda Nakoma. I'll say it's a shame that Jocho and his lightning squad can't. He tries to say it in a more politeful way, but basically get off their butts and deal with that issue.
Yes, I feel exactly the same way. They've been, all I've seen them do is train, but they're not making any patrols outside of the city at all. It seems as if they're doing everything in their power to ignore the problem.
Well, he says some of them should be capable horsemen, but some of them should be capable horsemen, certainly, but you're right. As much as they train, there's still a force robbing both them and the Emperor, haunting this city or encircling this city. Whatever, he's probably harrying. That's the word he'll use. Harrying this city.
I'm sure you have many capable horsemen at your command. Do you have anything to say as to the lightning? Lightning squad.
It is exactly it.
God damn.
Yeah.
Can't deal with it. How do you feel about the lightning squad's prowess?
It sounds like you're trying to read this guy. You don't have to.
Not
Okay.
at this moment about this.
Sure. Well, remember, you can hold whatever. So you don't
That's true. I might as well roll, because I want to ask about other things. Maybe not about this. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
What does this roll off of?
Sagacious, but we got it. Yeah.
Well, if it was blessed.
It's true.
That's about right. So hold, 3 or some shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the Lightning Squad, he'll say, the Lightning Squad's done a lot of training, and they seem capable. The interesting thing is that they're not just composed of Scorpion Samurai.
Oh, really?
There's actually several. They're far from a majority, but there's actually several Unicorn Samurai that are in the Lightning Squad.
Wow. I never would have known Jocho did not take to mentioning this to me. I would have certainly appreciated their training more otherwise.
It says they're not the basically he'll say it's a way for them, especially samurai from lesser houses of our clan, to certainly gain some experience and hone their skills, and often things they're guarding nearby would be. He says, and there's enough of a unicorn presence in their city that them being part of the lightning squad would serve to protect the unicorn. So we've allowed this to occur.
Yes.
So we've been fine with it thus far.
A thought keeps on plaguing me about Fade and his bandits. I don't really understand how they've been able to house and feed so many horsemen. It takes certainly a lot of resources to do this, no?
Say
The cup is going for years.
The trick with cavalry is cavalry's, and I'm not a general, but all unicorn knows something of horsemanship, and cavalry's greatest strength is its ability to move around. Mm-hmm. So from moving from place to place, but to those who aren't acquainted with horses, so for those who aren't as acquainted with horses, a lone horse, or the lone horse, my new comic book, a lone horse, or even one in pairs pulling a cart, is all the same to anyone. And so broken up into certainly individuals, pairs, teams of 4, a horse by itself doesn't raise much suspicion.
That's true. It is Idibarna I wish that I would do.
He's not saying it. He's not saying it, but you notice that, like, when the subject of opium came up, he got, like, real annoyed and real mad. And you remember, his son died of an opium overdose.
Yeah. Of course. Opium.
Yeah, so you can guess doing something about that is something he would want to see happen.
All right. Well, I guess that's what I'll bring up next. Move on from this fate thing. So, what still surprises me to this day is just how many illegal opium dens are around this town, not in this license court.
And he just says that's a cancer that's grown in the city for far too long.
I just don't. I can't find a source for this opium. I don't know where it's all coming from, because there's not that many illegal opium makers in the city.
And I think he starts to get real worked up. And he says, like, and he'll just be like, this city is surrounded in poppy fields. We're literally we are swimming in it. And, like, he gets kind of real worked up. And then he has to, like, kind of, like, cool his jets for a minute. And he just says,
There's horses.
yeah, like, whoa, girl, whoa. It's a problem many don't want to address. And it's a painful problem for many. And he essentially goes to change the subject and just says,
what I really wanted to get out of him, and I would probably push him more. I really want to get out of him that it is the Scorpion family itself that is supplying this opium. Hence why I brought up, there's so few illegal opium sellers. Like, where does it all come? And so how could I get him to not admit that, but to, like, outright say it?
How could you get him to do that?
Yeah, because, I mean, he's been here for forever. He probably knows. He's one of the people in power. I can only assume. Because, I mean, even he seems to want to skirt around the city.
So this for him is a very painful thing to discuss, is the issue. So that's why he's trying to, like, hold this back.
Of course.
He needs to make a love roll.
Mm-hmm. And
that's true.
Probably, if he was a player character, he probably would have to do that. But yeah, he is very upset, and
like reaffirming my commitment to taking down those who make and sell opium in the city?
Sure, but I don't think you're necessarily going to get what you want completely. So yes, that I think reassuring, like reaffirming that will get something, but it's still going to, like, he wants to change out of the subject because it's very much like, if he was a player character, he would be suffering face damage as he keeps having these outbursts about this.
Of course. You must understand I've taken a blood oath that I will bring justice and retribution to those that make and sell this horrific poison throughout this city. I don't know where to start.
He'll just say, but yeah, and like I said, he's pretty like worked up about this. He'll take like another drink, and you notice like, oh, this guy's kind of had a bit to drink with this, and he'll just say like, this, like the leadership of this city is complicit in this sin. Like if they wanted to see an end to this, they could. They don't want that. And he'll say it broke Matsu Shigeku. They somehow were able to fool Naratoki, and now when 4 magistrates are brought in, of course there had to be one of them to come along.
Racist.
And I feel like he's kind of done with the topic.
Yep.
And he kind of moves things to something else, or even just says like, oh, if you'll excuse me, I have to check on my wife. And he leaves. He might somewhat abruptly go. Yeah, not that he's mad at you, but he's like worked up and has to leave, and is like
I did push him really hard.
The walk out of the room equivalent of, excuse me, there's something in my eye, kind of a thing when you're crying. But yeah, like he's a combination. Yeah, he's real worked up. A combination of like mad and sad.
I was wondering if that birthday party gave me an opportunity to hear courtly gossip at all.
Sure, probably, yeah.
The gossip that just happened in this room, the really loud, angry, yelling, courtly gossip.
He does that every time he gets drunk.
How'd that go?
10.
All right. Like you keep being upset. You're like, oh.
One experience away from advancement. But okay, so if I spend 1 favor, which I'm going to do, I get to choose 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what character is the biggest threat to my plans?
What character is the biggest threat to your plans?
Should I state what my plans are?
Sure. Also, is this gossip, or is this like you hear actual information? Because when gossip sounds, it sounds like it could be not necessarily true.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So, Trail of Whispers. When you wish to hear courtly gossip, roll plus Elliot. When you act on one of these secrets, you learn. Take +1. On 10 plus, choose 2 or pay 1 favor to choose 3. Blah blah blah.
Okay, so it's probably supposed to be true. You probably hear a lot of additional stuff, but it can suss out the truth of it.
Yeah, and then what's the character's true agenda? What's the best way to make an alliance with the character? What character's the biggest threat to my plans? How can I get a character to blank? And what leverage could be effective against character? It's almost like a area of effects. Read a person, maybe.
Yeah, kind of. See that? Oh, so you can basically read a person through other people, almost.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Cool. So who's the biggest threat to your plans?
Yeah.
Do you want to be a little more specific?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my major plans are to get the chop back, and then to the opium stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'd say that Ishi is probably the biggest threat to your plans regarding opium. Yeah.
Size-wise.
Yep, at least.
Tom Sizemore.
He's twice the biggest threat.
Okay, here we go. What can I get to offer a character to implicate the unicorn in opium trade? Or opium smuggling, maybe?
Oh, we've kind of gone through this a little bit. Okay, implicate the unicorn. You know that Korchika-san Boishi Atato has hung out with, and so has Jocho, like a lot of these various, like the younger unicorn clan members. So, Ide Baronato's still living son,
The birthday boy?
But also the two cousins who are named Otaku Genshi and Naishi. Right, saying that right? Yep, Otaku Genshi and Naishi. Plus, you remember a story from the dossier about Ayuchi Michizuna, another one of the unicorn, who's like a bard kind of character, and how Shiba Shonagon, the author of Memoirs of an Opium Eater, was like in love with him.
Oh, right. I remember that. So let's see. So what can I get to offer a character to implicate them?
When you get to offer a character to implicate them?
What can I offer to get a character to implicate them?
Offer for that.
Money, baby.
Those folks.
Blackmail me? Or not blackmail, but bribery. That's what I meant. They both start with B.
To get somebody to implicate those folks with opium.
I mean the unicorn in general. But those folks with names sound important. It's unclear with all of these. Get a character to do something if I'm supposed to specify if it's a character or.
So you know that the Unicorn Clan has a lot of. They do a ton of business in the city in general. So
The unicorn, you said?
Yeah, the unicorn do. So they have merchants coming in and out of the city all of the time. And if you were to... You could probably get some merchants to put forward that merchants of theirs were involved in it. It wouldn't directly implicate the samurai, but you could probably more easily get the rival merchants of the unicorn to implicate unicorn vassals with some kind of involvement in the opium trade. That wouldn't get to those samurai because that's like a class distinction thing. But they would... It would essentially like be a start.
Okay. And, yeah, it's tricky since I say a character. I don't know if I'm supposed to specify that. But I think it's more fun to leave it up to you. What is the best way... No, maybe this is more important. What's a character's true agenda?
Who?
Exactly. I mean, I guess Baronato. Sure. If I had to pick.
Yeah, you can kind of like... I think he wants to protect the rest of his family from what happened to his eldest son.
Okay.
That's his goal. So, his younger son is now engaged to Shosuro Kimi, Shosuro Hayobu's daughter. He's very... He wants to protect his family and make sure everything's good. So, not like a crazy thing, but it's specifically like after seeing his son's death, he very much wants to protect his family.
Sure.
And more so than more so than the average samurai would even.
Is anything in that house?
Oh yeah, for sure. I kind of almost wanted that to be the end, but
That's fine.
It wouldn't make sense chronologically. I think this makes more sense. It wouldn't be that dramatic in the end. So you go to that house. It's nice, but it's not huge. It's definitely a house that could have like a small family in it, in this like nice area of the noble quarter in the old section. And
Is it better than the rooms I have now?
the place that you have now is decorated very, very nicely. Like that is a very big place and is decorated very nicely.
But split with like 4 people.
Yeah, but you have 3 roommates essentially. Here, it is theoretically your place, and somewhere in the place itself is essentially like 8, just somewhere there's a chest, and it's just full of 8 more wealth.
I can kill anyone I want.
Based on my estimate, minimum is at least 12. Could be 13.
And I'll say if you kind of suss out, like, oh, Korchika had given me 5, and then, like, with the value of some of this other stuff, the other people threw in basically the same amount. And you could probably guess that. Wait a minute. Okay. You guys have been working on a sting against the ninja, is one of the things. All right?
Scorpion sting.
Yes. We've been working on a sting against the Ryoko ninja. All right? So this is going to be kind of fluid where we'll work to describe it as we go. All right? So could someone, kind of looking at you, Gray, who seemed the most interested in this, make a bold roll? Bold rolls.
Oh, that's my strong suit.
So, in our hunt for the Ryoko ninja, we've set up a sting. Could somebody make a bold roll from most likely Yugure? Because he was the most interested in this previously.
Ooh, that's my strong suit.
Wow.
Indeed.
10.
Very
10. All right, so...
I
Okay.
think you're lying about your strong suit.
So what I'm...
I got
so,
a -1 to my 11.
so what I'm thinking is you guys are kind of trying to set up a sting with some kind of like bait in the small holies. And what I view is you guys definitely... So I'm going to have you describe this stuff, but I'm going to tell you what you find kind of as you're doing this. You figured out that in the small holies, the place like the fortunes kind of pointed you to,
Right.
the reason you couldn't find much is because
All right.
the people that know anything or who have encountered the ninja are so scared they won't talk to you for a while. So the issue is at first that you go around and you talk to Emery, the leader of the firemen,
Yeah.
and he at first like he doesn't know much, but the reason he doesn't know much is because the people who are getting extorted by the ninja are so scared of them they won't tell the firemen. So whereas normally like they would tell the firemen and the Thunder Guard about this stuff possibly and people would hear about it, these folks, you don't hear about the ninja because they're so afraid of them that they won't say anything to anybody. And it takes a while and a lot of asking for you guys to figure this out. So that's one of the things that you figure out from that. All right. So how does this sting look? You're going to basically get to describe a good chunk of it, and we'll go around and add a little detail and end with you again. So give us like kind of the setup and how it goes, and we'll end with you as well, finishing up, and I'll give you whatever additional info we get out of this stuff.
All right. Well, hopefully we're on the same page here with what a sting is. But I guess Yugure wants to come back at night. That was kind of what we planned to do, and then just didn't kind of get there yet. So probably we'll start off at night, and we just kind of maybe we spread out. We're like kind of in different places around the small holies, on top of some buildings or something.
Cannot laugh at that.
I always forget if it's small or little.
As
So
long as it's spread on my small hole, it's fine.
So we're just watching out, and something moves in the shadows? I don't know.
Okay. If you want to add any like additional details to that.
I don't know where we're going, so I don't know how to start. If that makes sense.
It's not at a specified location. I don't have like, oh, it's at this spot in this person's house.
I just mean like in the story. Like I don't know what, like in terms of the story. Like I don't know the ending of this story.
So in the end, you guys are going to be able to capture some ninja
Okay.
and like get additional information about it. So how is it that you go about capturing these ninja?
Okay. Yeah, I think it still makes sense that we like start from that point. Is that we just want eyes everywhere and can't trust anybody. Nobody's talking. So we just start by looking out on our own.
That makes sense. So we're all like different targets.
Yeah. Or just like watch, like be on the rooftops. See if anyone comes up there. Look down on the streets in the night to see if anyone's sneaking around.
We're
Like,
the ninjas.
yeah, maybe we're the ninjas. I don't know if we know what a ninja would wear, so I don't know that we can like pretend we're an ninja, but
So add another detail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like in there, like continue the
Yeah.
narration. Okay. So yeah, maybe Tayo is then, if this is like the HBO show, he's kind of like freaked out. Like, I do not like this splitting up thing and being a pretend, not actually fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe one of the you see like the shadow go over here, and then like, oh no, they're actually over here. Like they're gonna, like, they took Tayo as the bait, right? And she has like her hand on her sword. It's like, you could just seeing Tayo's face, like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I'm gonna die, and maybe someone else will get that.
Go for it. Just throw another detail in there. My suggestion is, that there's like some kind of bait that you guys had established as something that they would go after, or a place that you're staking out, maybe, aside from just the neighborhood generally.
Since there's no talk of baits in the plan when we did the stakeout, I am baiting out Yugure because he doesn't know how to be sneaky. So I'm watching off in the distance, see if anyone attacks him.
Okay.
keep shooting me as the bait. Was someone closing in on Tayo just now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I do not see Tayo.
getting right. Things are going downhill.
I have my guards with me.
So you have this like crew of guys with you?
No, yeah, but I have them like spread out as lookouts.
Okay.
Although these guys are having issues, at least we will have backup when shit goes.
All right. And then finally, the last detail.
Yeah, these two let me out to dry. Just
Yeah, so I think in like a. I mean, I'm just gonna go back to the lightning thing. I think just the one ninja's coming after me, and there's just like I kind of freak out, and I'm like, oh, he spotted me. How did he spot me? I was hiding so well, and then like a bolt of lightning comes out and knocks him out, and all the other ninjas just scatter. So like whatever the one was coming after Tayo. Like there's this huge flash of light in the middle of the night out of a clear sky, and it's like that ninja just nopes away.
It reveals 8 other ninjas.
Yeah, so we get the one.
Sure. All right. Yes, you guys have captured one of these ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you unmask this person, and indeed this person is a regular person.
What?
He's not like a...
They had like they were kind of wearing head to toe like black clothing,
Now we know how to dress like a ninja.
and they were wearing a mask. They had kind of a long knife with them, and they are not pleased to be. They're wounded, I guess, from this thunder strike.
Yeah.
And they're kind of moaning in pain as you cart this person off probably to the civil hall where there's like detention cells. Unless you just do whatever in the public.
it's like nighttime, right?
Sure.
Guess we can beat him up in the streets too.
Right in front of all these churches.
I think we got to take him to the jail cell room, but we'll need to keep eyes on him because we don't know what these ninja are capable of.
Sure. So you get him there. Like I said, that was more like a love letter kind of thing where like you guys were going to, based on that role, it was going to happen. So so you get this person there. He's kind of still moaning in pain. Mostly.
Yeah. Who are you working for?
And I think that's not something that he at first he's just like oh my chest is killing me. Oh. Mostly just kind of moaning like that. And if somebody wants, they could read a person.
How about threaten with violence?
Oh, you could threaten with violence, and that violence can easily be just the...
More lightning.
Well, you have torturers at your disposal,
Oh, that too.
as that is a common method of extracting confessions.
11 at 7 disposal.
Very effective.
This is strong, so I got a 10.
All right.
They have to force my hand to take harmless or submit and do what I want.
All right, so I think that some torture is involved in this. This person ends up being tortured.
Tickle his burns.
And so you wouldn't do the torturing at all.
You're right.
So
That's not a me.
yeah, like literally, like the people who are torturers are the Ada, but are
It was like sorrowful or something.
pitiful is the name of the torture that Narutoki always used. But they are like considered the lowest of the low. So because they not only are involved with all these unclean things, but they specifically are there to like cause harm to others. And they're like even more. They're the pariahs among pariahs. And this person can tell you for sure they are not the leader. There is a leader. He knows that leader as Nails. And he can tell you for sure that Nails has not always been the leader. That Nails is a newer leader of this group.
Does he know anything about the other magistrate dying?
Yes, he does. But the only thing that he knows is that they, in the small holies, they used it to terrify people. The story of Narutoki dying. As far as he knows, the ninja had nothing to do with that.
How long has he been working with them?
Yeah.
I think he'll say, like, he started... Some of this timeline is a little confusing for me. He started... He actually only started a few months before Narutoki's assassination. So like after those big raids. Sure. So he's been doing this for about a year.
What made you join such dishonorable people?
And he'll essentially say, like it's the money. I think it was a way to get money.
Taking it from other people.
Yes.
He's not a real ninja.
Yeah, are they like? Is he like trained and proficient? Or are they like thugs in black?
He just seemed like a dude in black. Like a dude in black, like in a black outfit.
Disappointing.
Where do you meet?
And he says, I've only met with a few other guys at this particular house.
Who is Nails?
And he says, he'll say, I never met Nails.
Do you know who Nails is?
As the leader of the ninja.
There are things I don't have anymore.
Yeah. He pulled all those out. And put several other varieties into me.
All right, so we know where that.
You guys wouldn't stick around while Pitiful did this work.
Yeah.
I think you guys would periodically... I think Pitiful would work on this person, and then periodically you'd be brought back in to hear, like, whatever confession.
Once his lips were loose enough.
Right, and so, like, that would kind of go on for a long enough time where Pitiful would basically tell you, like, oh, this person's ready to say this, and then they'd tell you something. Mm-hmm. And so this process takes probably a while. And based on the role that you had, like, a lot of this comes out pretty quickly, but then some of the additional details are probably about, like, what this guy specifically has done. Mm-hmm. Like, he might tell you those initial things that were pretty broad, but then what he specifically has done takes, like, a lot more coaxing out. Mm-hmm. And Pitiful's method of doing that is kind of creepy in that he's just constantly is saying... And possibly some of you can hear some of this, just like a lot of like, shh, like this will all be over as soon as possible. Just all you've got to do is say like answer these questions. Mm-hmm. This will be over very, very soon.
They invent cyanide capsules shortly after.
There you go.
So we have a meeting house at least in the name of the leader. Is this like all over the city, or is this just in that quarter?
Well, you know that there had been the reports that you got. There were reports of the Ryoko ninja all over the city. Mm-hmm. That's in the north part of the temple quarter. You know that Hiroshi's predecessor was killed in the downhill, the southern part of the merchant quarter. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's at least here to over here.
But I guess, like, is he stationed only in the temple quarter? Is he moved about?
And he says, like, he's done stuff in other places for sure. But, like, like the information where he got his orders was in. Actually, I think that safe house is in the merchant quarter. That safe house. That's like meeting house. It's like a very, very small, almost apartment, and they would just meet up and get whatever orders. And I think he would say like a lot of times the orders were they were usually just like addresses of like places to go
To extort.
Yeah.
I'm gonna consult with my fellow magistrate. Is there a way we can obscure the fact that we tortured him and discover this information? Like, the ninja could just scatter. Like, we'll go there and they're like, oh, well, they found our guy, and so we're just never going there again.
We just have to do it as soon as possible. What do you mean by obscure?
I don't know. I mean, if we, like, presumably they saw, the other ninja at the scene saw us, like, get this guy. But if we made it seem like he died immediately, like maybe he died from lightning strike, if we spread that story, or something like, if we can find out more information from him, maybe we like dress somebody up as him and send them to wherever this guy would be expected next, and then they think he's still alive. That one's a stretch, but that's just the type of thing.
Just go back tonight and leave him dead there.
Yeah. It's the only...
That's simple.
I think it's pretty clear that he should be executed for this.
If you want to be found dead somewhere.
Does he keep the money he steals?
Does
he keep a part of it?
Yeah, I think that's the deal. Is he keeps a part of it.
Where does the other money go to?
I think he says something like we would usually like leave it in the meeting house or something like that, or there would be a drop-off point for that.
Where's your last drop-off point?
And he'll tell you another place in the merchant quarter.
And that one house is the only place you've ever met it?
He says that's where I've always met people there.
There's houses.
So are you always masked? Do you know anyone else?
And again, after some torture, yeah, he does.
Oh yeah.
So they're not always like in this like completely. He doesn't know who he knows. Nails is the leader, but has never met Nails. He could give you eventually will give you other names, but even the other names, he could recognize the folks if he's seen their faces, but they all go probably by like aliases. So he can tell you like, this is my ninja crime name.
What was his ninja crime name?
Oh, come up with a cool ninja crime name.
Chalkboard.
Piccolo.
Mm-hmm.
Piccolo.
Order from Nails.
I also derived mine from Nails.
Yeah. I got that.
I don't get that one.
That's probably nails on a chalkboard. Screeching sound. Anyway, better ninja name, Mouse.
Sure, he goes by Mouse.
Fake ninjas.
I don't know, is there anything else we should get from this guy?
I was thinking of throwing star, nunchuck.
He had a knife.
It is long.
Oh. What killed Naruto guys specifically? Wasn't it just like bladed weapons?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
other
there's a bunch of blades
knives or trauma.
through her thing.
Everyone has bladed weapons.
Isn't that
So-
the only weapons?
Eyebrows had said that they were short. He was stabbed with some kind of short-bladed weapons.
Yeah. Did Mouse have anything? Does he know anything about Naruto guys stuff?
Again, he said that the ninja took credit for it in the small holies. That they used that to terrify people more. Like, oh, we murdered the Emerald Magistrate, so if you think you're safe...
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was thinking...
If you think you're safe, you're an idiot. And you think these firemen will protect you? That guy's dead. We killed him.
The Miramota guy.
Sorry.
Miramota guy? Yeah, anything else?
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I'm done.
So do we kill him and just throw him back in the...
I think it'd be hard to mask the torture stuff. Make it obvious.
Blame it on the lightning.
Have them
Yeah,
really bloody and we could probably just swim to
Well, I don't know. I feel like if I saw someone struck by lightning and then they were gone, I wouldn't suspect that they were captured and probably assume they died.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it's true. Maybe we just go with it.
I'm just saying, if they saw me and they saw you, like, I don't know how we were disguised, if at all, but
Yeah, they probably weren't dressed as like magistrates or anything.
yeah,
Just
I don't think
dressed as wealthy people, I think,
yeah.
is what I was assuming.
All right. So he got struck by lightning and he got taken away. He's dead. That's the story.
And the edit would take them like a dead person on the street, right? I assume.
Yeah.
Or would it be like a whole big
gather up that person. Yeah.
It's like get Butters to drag him there.
Buttons?
But,
No.
is he loyal or not?
He is.
Probably would be picked up and brought to the crematorium anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We'll get money.
So you might have to spread some rumors that this guy wasn't brought here, but was instead dead and brought to the crematorium.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That's true.
That makes sense. Let's do that.
Ooh. Somebody go ahead and make a. That sounds like an elegant roll.
I'm so elegant.
Go for it.
Maybe this will be my failure, and
And I can finally be a real boy. Nope.
Damn it. 10.
I only got a 10. All right.
11. Sorry.
Okay, so I think that you are able to tell. You have to go and tell like specific people. So you have to talk. You have to talk to the Thunder Guard in that area. You have to talk to Emery, the head of the fireman there, Daikoku's Garden Fireman. I think that's the name of that group of firemen. And you probably also have to the Temple Road firemen, what they're called. You also have to talk to. Also, probably have to talk to. Oh, you also probably have to keep interviewing people, and
Talk about, like, what happened here?
right, like, do you know this person? Do you know blah blah blah? Have you seen this stuff? To basically be like, we don't have this information, so we're still asking the same questions.
That's true.
And so that's the deal. So you go around and you ask people who are stonewalling you. You now know why they're stonewalling you because they're terrified. I think another thing that they did that you learned in the small holies is that they don't go after people visiting these temples. They only go after the people who live there so that they can keep them the most afraid.
Yeah.
So whereas like somebody who shows up and hears this would still just tell the Thunder Guard what was going on and then probably go home and tell the Thunder Guard there too. So these folks instead they're kept penned in basically. This is where they live if they say anything. So people are very scared. And like when you go and ask these folks questions and you know they probably know something's up, they still absolutely tell you, nope, haven't heard anything. And they're and you're like, yep, all of them are very, very, very afraid. Our final scene. All right, it's a few days later. Evening, in fact, unfortunately. And you see a woman on a boat heading down downstream. So, you know what downstream means? South. In this case, so she's heading south, heading downstream. At some point, she gets off of that boat, and she's with like one or two other people, and you see like someone kind of coming. Like she's getting off. She gets off, and she's at the dock, and it's nighttime. She's kind of heading towards. You see kind of off in the distance, like kind of a lit up like establishment of some kind or another. And you see this woman in this Jingasa-esque hat, the Kung Lao style hat, and these two other people walking with her. And you see somebody approach on a horse. And you hear kind of like the clip-clopping of the horse hooves
On the river?
but like slowly walking like towards them. So they're like they arrived at the dock. They got off of the boat. And they're on the dock, and they're kind of like heading towards that establishment and coming basically almost from that establishment to meet them. You see this horse, and we just see its feet kind of as it kind of like slowly walks and then stops. And she and these two other people with her stop. And you see this person kind of just dismount from the horse, and we only see their feet as you see like very clearly like the boots of what appear to be like the equivalent of like combat boots. Kind of like kind of land down, and you see this person like adjusts something. So then we see like very clearly they also have a sword in the shot, and then we cut to credits.
City of Lies is Toan as Kakita Aji, Branden as Hida Ishi,
David as Bayushi Tayo, Andrew as Agasha Yugure, and Austin as your Game Master. The theme music for City of Lies is Mission of Danger by Lobo Loco.
This American Dice Ryoko Owari City of Lies uses the City of Lies box set by Greg Stolz, published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The mechanics used is a modified PBTA system by Brendan Taylor of Galileo Games. Join us next time for more This American Dice.